Welcome to our Arkansas football recruiting report. As always, we're joined by our Hogville insider, Otis Kirk. Otis, thank you for taking the time with us this weekend.
Well, thanks for asking me, man. Thanks for having me on here. It's been
A
been a busy
whirlwind.
time with football, between recruiting, prospect days. I think we were on here last Saturday night, but and then the spring practices started. So yeah,
Uh,
it's been a busy time concerning football. And I know everybody's excited about Coach Muffs and his basketball team, and even Dave Van Horn. They've won 10 in a row, and they're leading
mhm.
today over there. But yeah, it's football's really staying busy too. It's
This
just busy
whole, yeah,
time.
the whole Arkansas success story this season started with Hog football, and it's going to continue that way. We're going to talk about some recruits that are pretty far into the future, first starting up, and then we'll get into the last couple of needs that Arkansas will be pursuing for 2022. So let's start with one of those recruits, class of 2024, Kadarius Datsun, a defensive back out of Texas. When I looked, I think it's another four-star
Yeah,
guy
at
they're
Duncanville.
eyeing.
He's a kid that came here. We talk about prospect days. He was here the last two. They didn't have one yesterday because of spring break, but he's been here the previous two Saturdays. So he kind of doubled down on the prospect days. But and the thing of it is, he's coming up here with his friends. He came, 1 week with some of them, and the next week he came with some more friends. But Kadavian is a 4-star. He can play safety or corner. He's about 6 foot, 178, and he's from Duncanville, and that's where Jordan Crook is from. And this kid is probably leaning into Arkansas, even though we talked about he's a ways off at
Mhm.
2024, but he is leaning to Arkansas, and he right now. I asked him, who else are you on? I mean, who else he's got a bunch of offers, but he's looking
Baylor,
hard at.
Arizona, Arizona
Yeah,
State, I see, Louisville, Ole Miss, a
yeah.
bunch.
Yeah, the schools he really likes other than Arkansas the most, though, top four would be Texas, Ole Miss, and Baylor.
Okay.
But Arkansas is up there, and we're talking about a kid that can really come in and make a play. And he talked about there could be a pipeline from
Oh,
Duncanville
yeah.
to Fayetteville,
We talked
and
about that
there's not
last
a
week. Yeah.
yeah. And you know what? Yeah, we talked about Dedrick Madison on here last week. Dedrick Madison, the cornerback, and that's who he came with last week with Dedrick and some others, and they were going over to see Jordan Crook. But yeah, Davian was with him. But here's the thing about him is he that school they lost their opening game last year. Then they won 13 games in a row, and then got beaten in the state championship game by North Shore, 17-10 in a game that I actually got to see. So they got that's a great school to get a pipeline into. They've got prospects in 2023 that Arkansas is recruiting and offered 2024, and they'll have some Yahan once those kids get up there and start going to camps and getting noticed and getting offers too. That's a pipeline. I mean, that's a school to get into. If you can get into there, you've really done something.
Kadarius Datsun, defensive back, Duncanville, something they're going to be looking at in Texas in 2024. They're chasing a lot of secondary kids. I know it's a need. And Tylen Singleton from Louisiana, another 2024 kid, another defensive back for the Razorbacks that they're
Yeah,
looking
and
at.
he is 2024, and he's at Many, Louisiana, and here it is. The thing about him is he's teammates with Tackett Curtis, who is a big time linebacker in the 2023 class. And this kid's a teammate, and I was actually going to see Tylen Singleton play and Tackett, except of course my bulldog got sick, and I had to stay home with him. Didn't get to go to the LSU game. He had kind of a neck surgery type deal, and I
Oh,
had the doctor
man.
like 4 or 5 times a day, so I didn't get to go to the LSU game. And that was one of my stops. Was going to be on the Friday night to see Tylen and Tackett play, and he's a big kid. He's about 6'1", 185, and just like Dotson, he can play corner or safety. I think he's more of a safety. I really look at him playing
Mhm.
safety. He's going to have, he's in 10th grade right now. He's going to have really good size, and I think he would be a heck of a safety. He is a high 4-star too, not just a 4-star, but he is
Yeah.
just on some services, he's just short of being a 5-star. And
Really?
yeah, and he's got Arkansas, LSU, Florida State, A&M, Ole Miss, Mississippi State, Oklahoma State, Louisiana Tech, and Louisiana Monroe offers right now. And so he had 75 tackles. He had 4 interceptions, Nick, 2 of them he returned for touchdown. So he knows what to do with the ball when he gets it in his hand. He can read the ball in the air, and then he knows what to do with it after. That's his athleticism and stuff coming out. So this is a kid that if Arkansas could get him, and they've got their work cut out, I feel much better about Arkansas' chances of getting Datsun. But Singleton liked Arkansas. That was his first visit. He was wowed by the facilities. Every kid that I talked to that came here to that prospect day, they love the weight room. They love that scenery. You can do your weightlifting, look out and see scenery, and it's all good with them. And this is a kid that Arkansas probably got their work cut out for, but that's why Dominic Bowman's recruiting him. He thinks he can,
And especially that 4, if he's an edge 5-star, more than likely, if he has a great season next year, he'll be a 5-star, and that's gonna gain some serious interest.
Yeah, and we're talking 10 offers if my count's right, 9 or 10. Whatever it is, I just named them all, but whatever it is, but that's going to multiply probably by 3, depending on when he makes a decision.
Yeah.
He could have 25 or 30 offers, and we'll have.
Yeah, 100%.
Size, he's got the grades, he's got the character, he's got it all, and he plays with a teammate who everybody's going to watch. Tackett Curtis, they're going to see Singleton play.
Like, where's this kid? Why didn't I offer him?
Yeah, so I mean that helps you when you've got a kid. If you live in a place where not very many college recruiters come to the games, that's one thing. But if you play at a school like he does, where you got all these coaches coming to see Tackett Curtis, and then they watch him play, the offers are his offers are going to go through the ceiling. There's no doubt about that. And he should, because he's a good player.
Tylen Singleton, that's going to be a name to keep on for the class of 2024. It could be a huge get, like Otis says. It could be a tough one to get. All right, let's take it back a year sooner. Cameron Fleming. We talked about this kid before, Virginia guy all the way across the country, class of 2023, cornerback. What's any updates on Cameron?
Well, last week we talked about Zaire Rayner on here, and Rayner's dad was Wally Rayner, who played in the NFL for 8 years. I didn't mention that last Saturday when I was on here about Rayner's dad played in the NFL for 8 years and actually made it look like he could still play. I actually met the guy. I mean, it was almost intimidating to talk to him. Hey, can I talk to your son? But no, I mean, I didn't want him to pick me up and throw me about 80 yards. But no, Cameron Fleming was with him. That's a teammate. Here's the deal. Dominic Bowman offered both of these kids when he was at Marshall. Now, Virginia Tech, Liberty, Minnesota, Tennessee, there's a bunch of schools offered Fleming, and Arkansas offered him last Saturday. But he's about 6'1", 185, and he is a cornerback, and he's the kid that had 3 interceptions himself, about 48 tackles, I believe it was, if my memory is right. And they play at Richmond, Virginia, and it's a long ways from home, but they're both open to going away from home to play football, and that gives Arkansas a chance on Cameron. And then, like I said, the Rayner kid earlier, and Rayner's 2024. But Fleming was offered last week. He's a kid that's going to continue, probably see his recruiting stock continue to rise. And but he has some good SEC offers at other schools. Liberty's on him. Virginia Tech. Some people feel Virginia Tech might be the leader, but I asked him about that last week, and he said he doesn't have a leader. So, you never know if don't want to say that because they're from Virginia. But I do know Rayner is wide open. His dad played at Virginia. Rayner's dad did, but he's wide open. But right now, Fleming and Rayner, if they could get a package deal there, I'm sure they would take it.
Would be big to get a couple Virginia recruits in on the defensive side of the ball. All right. We have class 2024, 23. Now we got to go to 2022.
We're working.
We got to, there's a couple.
Reverse form.
There's a couple scholarships remaining. We've seen them, the Hogs, pursuing defense, corners, safeties. Like we've mentioned, I think the last 2 times we've been on here, it's been all on the defensive side of the ball. There are 3 scholarships remaining. What are those needs that Arkansas needs to fill?
And Sam threw me a curveball on that. Because I had told you I thought the scholarships would go for defense. Well, he does want 2 more defensive linemen. Right now he has 2 out of the transfer portal, Landon Jackson and Jordan Dominic. and he's got a linebacker, and it's Drew Sanders, and two defensive backs, and Dwight McLaughlin and Latavius Brinney. But he's got Jaden Hazelwood on offense. But here's what he wants now: he wants two defensive linemen and one receiver. So he's going offense. And I had told everybody, I think if he went offense with one, it would be a left tackle. If he could find, because I know Sam loves offensive linemen.
Yeah, replace Myron Cunningham.
Yeah, Harold Horton used to collect linebackers. Sam collects offensive linemen, So I told somebody, if he found a can't miss left tackle, nothing against Luke Jones and those guys. I'm just saying, I just know Sam likes linemen, even if it wasn't a starter. But no, he's wanting a receiver and two defensive linemen. So
receiver. Okay.
Yeah, they signed 4 in the last class. Hazelwood and McAdoo are on campus. Bakke and Isaiah Sectana will be on campus.
That's those are some big gets in that room as well.
Yeah, that's 4. McAdoo is hurt right now, but I don't think it's anything serious. I think he's supposed to be back. I believe Sam said he's supposed to be back at some point here pretty soon. But yeah, I was a little surprised with the receiver, but then again, they were short in the room before this class, and so I could see him getting another one. You lose Traylon Burke, you lose Tyson Morris, you lose Davion Warren, and you had some of the ones that was there, like John David White, walk on, but kid that could play, left, went to UCA, and the Turner kid, Darren Turner was his name. He transferred out. So I mean, you're looking at a position that had a need for some numbers, and but so we'll see how this works out. But yeah, I'm a little surprised with the receiver deal, but not totally shocked. I mean, I know they were short numbers there, and by the way, Hazelwood looks like the real deal. I've seen all 3 spring practices so far, and he looks like the real deal. Now, people are expecting him to come in and be another Traylon Burks. Don't do that to the kid. That's not fair. Just expecting to be Jaden Hazelwood, the kid that caught 39 passes and led OU with 39 catches last year. Expecting to be that kid. There's only one Traylon Burks, so don't put that on Jaden or anyone else. But I'm just saying, this kid looks like the real deal. KJ's getting the ball, but so we'll see how this works out. But it's going to be interesting. Coach Guyton's got that receiver room getting numbers. Keaton Jackson keeps looking good. Warren Thompson, he dropped a couple passes the other day. Next thing you know, he's blowing by a cornerback, starting cornerback, and going for a touchdown. I caught a long pass from KJ for a touchdown. So that's what happens. You just got to keep your head down and keep working. Even if you drop a couple, Warren came right back and caught about a 60-yard touchdown pass in practice.
Well, receiver, surprisingly, that need is still being met for them. They have 3 scholarships remaining, so class of 2022 could still have some shakeups, and as you mentioned, the offensive line, and then we're going to keep our eye on all of these huge defensive back recruits that Arkansas is pursuing. Otis Kirk, thank you so much for joining us. That wraps up our Arkansas football recruiting report. We'll see you next week.
Thanks, man. Talk to you later.